Welcome back to the Raw Feed. I'm Gary Franchi, and what we're about to expose will change everything you thought you knew about the Charlie Kirk assassination. We've got 5 explosive revelations that prove this murder wasn't random. It was the inevitable result of a system that rewards left-wing violence while targeting conservatives for destruction. First, the State Department literally gave an award to the co-founder of the militant group now under FBI investigation for Kirk's murder. Ermiya Fanaeian of Armed Queers SLC received federal validation while organizing armed radicals. When we exposed this, they scrubbed her profile from their website. Your tax dollars funded the pipeline that led to the assassination. Second up, Discord lied. Their executives claimed zero evidence existed on their platform, but prosecutors just released Tyler Robinson's confession, posted directly on Discord. It was me at UVU yesterday. 20-plus Discord users are now under FBI investigation. Silicon Valley tried to cover up their role in coordinating political murder. Third up, FBI whistleblowers dropping the Arctic frost bombshell. Documents proving the Biden DOJ targeted 92 Republican organizations, including Turning Point USA. While the FBI built files on Trump supporters, they missed the actual assassin planning actual violence. This wasn't law enforcement, this was political surveillance. And then we have the story of the media's response, and it's criminal. ABC calling the killer's confession text touching. Rachel Maddow says Trump's using the assassination to become a dictator. Don Lemon claims we don't really care about Kirk's death. They're not just biased, they're actively sanitizing political violence. And then fifth up, FBI Director Kash Patel confirmed a broad network had intel on this assassination. Senator Ted Cruz is pushing the Stop Funders Act to use RICO against financiers of left-wing violence. The money trail leads to dark places, and powerful people want it buried. Now, what sets the Raw Feed apart is we bring you into this investigation. Your reactions in the live chat, they matter. We're streaming on YouTube, Rumble, and X because they can't silence all of us at once. So share the stream now. Text it directly to bypass their algorithms. X viewers post this immediately. If you're watching on Facebook, share it now. You can also download the Next News Network app for breaking updates as the story develops. Android and iPhone links in the description. With new whistleblower revelations dropping, you need real-time alerts that the mainstream media won't give you. Yes, your super chats and Rumble rants will be appearing on screen, so send them in now. Before we dive into these bombshells, your voice becomes part of exposing the cover-up. Supporting independent journalism is important because we're exposing what they want hidden. Donation links below help us dig deeper into documents they're desperately trying to bury. And check out shop.nextnewsnetwork.com for gear that shows that you won't be silenced. We've got gear that will trigger leftists, the same people celebrating Kirk's death. You can also join our YouTube memberships for exclusive access, special chat recognition, and our 24/7 Discord where patriots share intel the algorithms try to hide. Now, September 16th marks a dark anniversary. In 1920, Wall Street was bombed by anarchists who were never caught because the investigation was sabotaged. Now, 105 years later, we're watching the same pattern. Radical violence, institutional failure, and desperate cover-ups. History doesn't repeat, it rhymes. Now, today isn't just another show. Today we connect the dots between federal funding and radical violence, between tech platforms and assassination plots, between media lies and dead conservatives. This is the story that proves the system didn't fail. It worked exactly as designed. 5 angles of betrayal, 5 proofs of corruption, 1 coordinated system that enabled assassination. They killed Charlie Kirk thinking it would silence our movement. Well, they were wrong. And today we expose them all. Let's begin by welcoming you to the show. We got Deb Noble, Mr. Cheddar Prepper, Rumble Bot, sure you in the house. Karen Finley is here. We've got Scooby Dragon in the house as well. Who else is here today? We've got Patricia Duff, the one and only Ron the Don. We've got Tina in the house. I don't give a crap what those queens say or think. You can tell them that. Scon Tech is here. Katie Ravert. So glad to have found the Raw Feed. Excellent shows. Thank you, Katie. We got Any Single. Thank you so much. Backpack is here from Rumble. Mr. J. Howe is in the house. Who else is here? We got PJ Florida Vibes. Again, Florida is full turnaround. Who else is here? We got Karen, Michael Jones, Mrs. Pothead Kenny, James Fay, Chuck, AJ Cruz, And Katie Raven just became a member. Welcome to the family, Katie. Great to have you here. Who else is in the house? We got just PJ, Florida. Just going through the list here. Let's go, says Katie. Jane Wilson. Clayton McDonald, thank you. Di Davey. Resin S, what's up? Good to see everybody here. Down on the dock. What's up? Irony Rose, good to see you. This is your moment, so sound off where you're watching from, what device you're watching, how you're watching, your city, state, your country, wherever you are. Sinwana77 watching on YouTube. What's up? Lisa in Georgia in the house. Shadow Watcher in Miami. Michael Jones. James Fay. Everyone is in the house. Well, we got a lot of news to jump into right now, so I don't want to delay anymore. Lots of developments overnight. I posted a thread late last night. I was literally about to go to bed, and then I get a phone call or a text message from Jack Lombardi, and he's like, Gary, you need to see this. He sends me a post from Data Republican. So I started to investigate, try to figure out exactly what it was about, and took me down a rabbit hole for about 3 hours. I think I went to bed about 3 a.m. after I posted the thread. And it's up now. It's got over 250,000 hits already. So we're going to dive into that and just come out. All right. They thought we wouldn't find the money trail. They thought we wouldn't connect the dots. But whistleblowers just blew the lid off a scandal that should terrify every American. Your tax dollars, the money taken from your paycheck, funded a pipeline that led straight to Charlie Kirk's assassination. We're not talking conspiracy theory here. We're talking receipts, documents, and names. A State Department partner gave awards to militant radicals while the FBI was supposedly watching. When bodies hit the floor, suddenly profiles disappear and officials clam up. Now, this goes beyond one killer with a gun. This is about a system that validated extremism with federal blessing. So stay with me. Now, let me ask you something. If you've built up $100,000 or more in investments, you really want it all riding on the stock market? Think about it. Banks, billionaires, even entire countries are loading up on physical gold and silver. Why? Because when markets swing, real assets hold their value. That's why I want to tell you about Noble Gold Investments. They make it simple to own investment-grade gold and silver, the same kind the big players are buying. And you can actually hold it in your hand or put it safely in your retirement account. You've worked hard to build your wealth. Isn't it time you protected it? Noble Gold is family-owned, trusted by thousands, and ranked #1 in gold IRAs 4 years in a row. Their precious metal specialists are standing by to answer your questions and walk you through every step. Simple, safe, and easy. Visit nextnewsgold.com today. That's nextnewsgold.com. It's time to protect what you have built. The number on the screen, 877-646-5347. When you call, tell them Gary Franchi said hello. All right, lots to unpack in our first segment today. Here is the moment the Charlie Kirk gunman suspect Tyler Robinson is told by the state that they will be seeking the death penalty. Here it is.
Just recently within the other business that we need to address today, Counsel. Just for the court's information, we did file just recently within the last few minutes a notice of intent to seek the death penalty that was filed by Utah County Attorney Jeff Gray. So that should be in the court's file. Other business that we need to
no emotion at all, no reaction. This person is a stone cold killer. Now, Representative Anna Paulina Luna, 60 minutes ago, posting this: Armed Queers SLC is now under FBI investigation as an extended network related to Charlie's killer. The founder of Armed Queers SLC is also an organizer for PSL, which is funded by Neville Singham and the Chinese Communist Party. Why did the Armed Queers SLC delete their Instagram after Charlie was murdered? Why is Neville Singham affiliated with radical extremist groups that may have ties to Charlie Kirk's assassin? Now, this is the individual, the founder of Armed Queers Salt Lake City. Pronouns in the bio. Here's the photograph. Ermiya Fanaeian. I don't know if I'm saying it correctly, but doesn't matter. We're going to get into that deep dive. I posted this thread late last night, 15 hours ago. Almost a 250,000 hits so far. The FBI widens its probe into Charlie Kirk's assassination. Sources confirm they're eyeing Armed Queers of Salt Lake City. Their leader, Ermiya Fanaeian, how do you say that? Fanaeian? Whatever. Ermiya isn't just radical. She was honored by a State Department-linked NGO for advancing UN goals. This is absolutely insane what dropped last night. I was tipped off by a friend, Jack Lombardi, to a thread posted by Data Republican. I decided to do my own dive, and this is what I found. That Armed Queers SLC was formed in 2020, branding themselves as Militant Marxist-Leninist Collective. Their mission, armed protection of queer trans communities, abolishing police, prisons, and capitalism. They train, mobilize, and preach revolution openly in Salt Lake City. This is a screenshot of their Instagram before it was taken down. And this is just one of the actions that they have taken publicly out there in Salt Lake City. Now they're under the FBI microscope. New York Post revealed feds are probing whether groups tied to Tyler Robinson Kirk's accused killer had foreknowledge, among them Armed Queers of Salt Lake City. Their Instagram vanished after Kirk was killed. Classic digital cleanup. This is the post from the New York Post. Feds widening their investigation into the assassination. Law enforcement sources said investigators are examining leftist groups both in Utah and online to figure out if they helped him with the shooting or at least heard it was going to happen. The probe includes groups in online gaming community, Steam, as well as a pro-trans organization called Armed Queers SLC, which took down their Instagram after Kirk was killed, a source confirmed. And here is the page no longer exists. Now enter Ermiya Fanaeian, the face of the movement. Once hailed as a March for Our Lives leader, he flipped the script, revived a group called Pink Pistols in Utah, urged LGBTQ arming, and then co-founded the Armed Queers. From reformist activist to militant organizer in record time. Here is an image from an article at a gun range. How a Utah gun control advocate changed her mind and launched a pro-gun group. Now, I need to point out that the individual in question here is a man who identifies as a woman. Here's the twist. In 2022, they were recognized by the Utah Global Diplomacy, a State Department-affiliated NGO, receiving the 7 for 17 award for advancing UN Sustainable Development Goal number 5, gender equality. A militant organizer held up as model youth. Here is the post that was made by the organization celebrating the award that they had handed out. UGD bragged, our first 7 for 17 award winner. They praised her abortion organizing, trans activism, and research into gender oppression by state institutions. Yes, the State Department's local partner crowned her a global change agent. This is the post that was made on Instagram 159 weeks ago. UCCD is proud to announce our first 7 for 17 award winner. And they go on to explain the organization, the award. But this group, UGD, is not random. It's one of 86 nonprofits tied directly to the State Department, hosting international delegations, running U.S. exchange programs, and operates under the Bureau of Education and Culture. Their mission, advance America's diplomacy agenda. You can see right here, works with the Department of State. This is from their website. Their website has since been taken offline completely as this news spread about their organization. Follow the money. UGD's filings show it runs on government grants. In 2023 alone, it got $230,000 via a group called Global Ties US for the State Department's International Visitor Leadership Program. Add private foundation cash. This is not bake sales. It's a Washington-funded diplomacy group. Who funded them? You can see it right here. Global Ties US. And $230,000. There are the receipts. Now, more receipts. Armed Queers SLC raised cash through Venmo. Apparently, that's the username that was used to raise money, partnering with bookstores to fund Cuba trips. Yes, going to celebrate communist Cuba. and its co-founder, validated by a State Department partner. The feds crowned a militant Marxist as model youth. That's exposure. This is how we found this individual at the bookstore, and then the post here. Donate directly through Venmo. 5% of sales from our community shelf will be donated to Armed Queers to help send members to the yearly Cuba Solidarity Brigade. Cuba Solidarity, really? So how does a militant group's leader get picked as a model youth for U.S. diplomacy? Who signed off? Did no one vet her group before putting the State Department's halo over her head? Or was it deliberate, showcasing radicals aligned with the UN's sustainable goals? It gets murkier. Utah Global Diplomacy later scrubbed her profile from their website. Instagram post remains, but her page is gone. A quiet purge. Why erase the record if there's nothing to hide? Who tapped them? Or is this internal damage control as scrutiny explodes? Now, there is no evidence. One of my main points of my investigation yesterday, or late last night at like 1 o'clock in the morning, was to find out if this group was indirectly funded by USAID through the State Department. I could not find any evidence of that. That was like the first thing I needed to find out. Is there any connection to USAID? But no. USGD also shows no USAID cash, but UGD is State Department finance. The bottom line, the U.S. government, a U.S. government partner honored a militant now under FBI scrutiny for ties to a political assassination. That is the story. Credit where credit's due. Independent researchers like SK33, Data Republican, and reporting from Just the News uncover these links. Digging through archives and receipts, follow them. They're exposing what corporate media will not touch. This is only the beginning. A militant group, a State Department award, a UN agenda, now an FBI investigation. How deep does this rabbit hole go? We'll keep pulling threads. The corporate press won't. Repost to demand answers for Charlie. So that is just the tip of the iceberg. This, 60 minutes ago, Data Republican posting, this is why you never rush to post discoveries. Always, always archive. The entire Utah Global Diplomacy site is now gone. Completely scrubbed. First, it was the page related to Ermiya, and now it's the entire website completely gone. Now here we've got a lot to unpack here. This person appears a lot of people had advanced knowledge of the plot to kill Charlie Kirk. Here's a post that they wrote on August 6th. September 10th will be a very interesting day. August 6th, they post that. Then 3 days ago, they wrote, I plead the 5th. At least 6 radical leftists knew Charlie would be assassinated. Kash Patel testifying at the oversight hearing today. We're going to get to that. Let's check in with Megyn Kelly first, reporting the FBI is looking into at least 7 other people who appear to have knowledge of the events of September 10th.
Robinsons. They are citing 3 people at the FBI familiar with the investigation, reporting that the Bureau is looking into posts by at least 7 different accounts. Several of the accounts appear to belong to transgender individuals, and at least one of them followed the suspect in this case, Tyler Robinson's roommate. Okay, so followed the roommate, the boyfriend, with whom Robinson was reportedly in a romantic relationship. Minutes after Charlie Kirk was pronounced dead, the user posted on X, "We fucking did it." This person has since deleted the account. Another user, 5 days before the shooting, wrote, quote, "You guys, I have something big coming soon. Just be sure to check the news. You'll know it when you see it," along with an emoji giving a wink. "I have something big coming soon. Just be sure to check the news. You'll know it when you see it." 5 days before the assassination. Then on Wednesday, after the shooting, this same account writes, quote, "Well, that's that." And another chud bites the dust. Chud, apparently a slang derogatory term for right-wingers. This user has also deleted the account. The Free Beacon also reporting a TikTok account by an individual who appears to be transgender, writing, quote, "Charles James Kirk does not know what's coming tomorrow. This isn't a threat. It's a promise." So how did all these people know this? Did they just get lucky? They just they just had a feeling something was going to happen to Charlie and they all wrote it and they have links to the trans community? Wow, that's quite a coincidence. And there's new information regarding Tyler Robinson, the suspect, as well. As I mentioned above, he was in a romantic relationship with his roommate, who's a biological man pretending that he can become a female and in the process of that, quote, transition. This news was confirmed to Axios by 6 sources. And not just that, but as we reported in our own AM update this morning, Tyler Robinson himself appears to have a link to so-called furry culture and a website to this culture, which is linked to the trans community and which involves people dressing up like animals and getting some sort of sexual fetish out of it. By the way, that same so-called boyfriend who was trying to trans himself into female was constantly all over the internet in furry costumes. That's where the things stand this morning at 12:13 Eastern Time.
And that's not all. Here is the Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche.
And what I hope folks realize from hearing the attorneys talk today and from hearing Director Patel talk and the Attorney General is that this is a process. And this is something that is so serious for us to make sure that we're leaving no stone unturned and that we're doing everything that we can to find out everything about what happened to this case. What I hope.
Here is the Utah County Attorney General listing the charges against Charlie Kirk's suspected assassin announces pursuing the death penalty.
Tyler James. Today, after reviewing the evidence that law enforcement has collected thus far, I am filing a criminal information charging Tyler James Robinson, age 22, with the following crimes. Count 1, aggravated murder, a capital offense, for intentionally or knowingly causing the death of Charlie Kirk under circumstances that created a great risk of death to others. Count 2, felony discharge of a firearm causing serious bodily injury, a first-degree felony. The state is further alleging aggravating factors on counts 1 and 2 because the defendant is believed to have targeted Charlie Kirk based on Charlie Kirk's political expression and did so knowing that children were present and would witness the homicide. The state is also charging defendant with count 3, obstruction of justice, a second-degree felony for moving and concealing the rifle used in the shooting. Count 4, obstruction of justice, a second-degree felony for disposing the clothing he wore during the shooting. Count 5, witness tampering, a third-degree felony for directing his roommate to delete his incriminating texts. Count 6, witness tampering, a third-degree felony for directing his roommate to stay silent if police questioned him. And count 7, commission of a violent offense in the presence of a child, a Class A misdemeanor, for committing homicide knowing that children were present and may have seen or heard the murder and did so based on Charlie Kirk's political expression. Also, following the press conference, I am filing a notice of intent to seek the death penalty. I do not take this decision lightly, and it is a decision I have made independently as county attorney, based solely on the available evidence and circumstances and nature of the crime. Because we are seeking the death penalty, the defendant will continue to be held without bail in the Utah County Jail.
So its official death penalty is now on the books. And we have this. 5 hours ago, George Zinn, 71, who was arrested at the scene of Charlie Kirk's assassination and falsely claimed to be the shooter, has now been charged with felony obstruction of justice and 4 counts of, you can see that on the screen, after the FBI discovered images on his phone. Now, he did state here the original person of interest, George Zinn, allegedly confessed that he pretended to have shot Charlie Kirk to help the real killer escape, being held without bond and charged with felony obstruction. So it's unclear if he had actual coordination with the shooter or if he was just a sympathizer at the moment. Those facts will come out. And here is Kash Patel at the oversight hearing today.
There are a number of individuals that are currently being investigated and interrogated, and a number yet to be investigated and interrogated specific to that chat room. So we are very much in our ongoing posture of investigation.
So others could have been involved?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Others could have been involved. Here is more. Senator Ted Cruz encouraging the FBI director to not just go after those who aided and abetted Charlie Kirk, but to follow the money who's funding left-wing violence in America.
I want to encourage you in the course of this investigation, absolutely go after anyone who aided and abetted. But I want to more broadly encourage you, follow the money. The violence we are seeing is not purely organic. There is, I believe, significant money that is spreading dissension, that is spreading violence. Antifa. Do you believe Antifa is a terrorist organization?
I believe Antifa is associated with a lot of violence in this country. As to its designation, I'll leave that to the appropriate authorities.
So I would encourage the administration to designate Antifa as a terrorist organization, to go systematically after Antifa. They've committed acts of violence all over the country.
Yes, they should be designated a terrorist organization. We have some more here for you. Democrats have now officially been debunked on everything they've said about Robinson being a right-winger. Share this so everyone knows the truth. Here is more from the district attorney, Jeff Gray, Utah County District Attorney.
As follows, and immediately after the shootings, no shell casings were found on the roof, suggesting a bolt action rather than an auto-loading weapon, and only a single round was fired. Each round in the rifle contained an etched inscription as follows. The fired cartridge was etched, "No Tice's bulge, OWO, what's this?" The second cartridge that was again not spent, the last three were not spent, were not fired. The second, "Hey fascist," catch with arrow symbols. The third cartridge, "Oh Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Chow Chow." The fourth cartridge, "If you read this, you are gay," LMAO. The rifle, ammunition rounds, and towel were sent for forensic processing. DNA consistent with defendant was found on the trigger, other parts of the rifle, the fired cartridge casing, 2 of the 3 unfired cartridges, and the towel. Law enforcement was unable to immediately locate the shooter, so they published photos of the shooter from the UVU surveillance cameras and asked for the public's help to identify him. Meanwhile, law enforcement continued to try to identify the shooter through other means. The Washington County investigation. On the evening of September 11th, 2025, as law enforcement continued their investigation, Tyler James Robinson went to the Washington County Sheriff's Office with his parents and a family friend to turn himself in. Robinson's mother stated that the following to police. On September 11th, 2025, the day after the shooting, Robinson's mother saw the photo of the shooter in the news and thought the shooter looked like her son. Robinson's mother called her son and asked him where he was. He said he was at home sick and that he had also been at homesick on September 10th. Robinson's mother expressed concern to her husband that the suspect shooter looked like Robinson. Robinson's father agreed. Robinson's mother explained that over the last year or so, Robinson had become more political and had started to lean more to the left, becoming more pro-gay and trans rights oriented. She stated that Robinson began to date his roommate, a biological male who was transitioning genders. This resulted in several discussions with family members, but especially between Robinson and his father, who have very different political views. In one conversation before the shooting, Robinson mentioned that Charlie Kirk would be holding an event at UVU, which Robinson said was a stupid venue for the event. Robinson accused Kirk of spreading hate. Robinson's father reported that when his wife showed him the surveillance image of the suspected shooter in the news, he agreed that it looked like their son. He also believed that the rifle that police suspected the shooter used matched a rifle that was given to his son as a gift. As a result, Robinson's father contacted his son and asked him to send a photo of the rifle. Robinson did not respond. However, Robinson's father spoke on the phone with Robinson. Robinson implied that he planned to take his own life. Robinson's parents were able to convince him to meet at their home. As they discussed the situation, Robinson implied that he was the shooter and stated that he couldn't go to jail and just wanted to end it. When asked why he did it, Robinson explained there is too much evil and the guy, referring to Charlie Kirk, spreads too much hate. They talked about Robinson turning himself in and convinced Robinson to speak with a family friend who is a retired deputy sheriff. At Robinson's father's request, the family friend met with Robinson and his parents and came of and immediately.
Yeah, so the leftist narrative that's been ongoing, they've been trying to say that he was MAGA, conservative. I mean, this is all an effort to, protect themselves from the guilt of helping to radicalize this young man with the evil rhetoric they have spread for years. Here is the moment that Tyler Robinson's charges are read in court by the judge. Now, at the beginning, we showed you the death penalty, but here is the actual moment. All the counts.
Mr. Robinson, what I also want to do is you have the right to have the charges read that you stand charged of, and I wish to read those to you at this time. Thank you. Mr. Robinson, for count 1, aggravated murder, a capital felony in violation of Utah Code annotated 76-5-202, in that on September 10th, 2025 in Utah County, the defendant, Tyler James Robinson, intentionally or knowingly caused the death of Charlie Kirk under the following circumstances. The defendant knowingly created a great risk of death to another individual other than Charlie Kirk and the defendant. Notice conviction of this offense may carry the death penalty or pursuant to Utah Code 76-3-207.7, a mandatory term of imprisonment for life without parole or an indeterminate term of not less than 25 years, and that may be for life. Victim targeting enhancement in violation of Utah Code annotated 76-3-203.14 sub 2. Tyler James Robinson intentionally selected Charlie Kirk because of Tyler James Robinson's belief or perception regarding Charlie Kirk's political expression. Notice, if the trier of fact finds beyond a reasonable doubt that the victim targeting enhancement applies, the sentencing judge or the Board of Pardons and Parole shall consider the defendant's selection of the victim as an aggravating factor. Violent offense committed in the presence of a child aggravating factor, the sentencing judge or the Board of Pardons and Parole shall consider as an aggravating factor in their deliberations that the defendant committed a violent criminal offense in the presence of a child. Count 2, felony discharge of a firearm causing serious bodily injury, a first-degree felony, in violation of Utah Code Annotated 76-11-210 sub 2 and 3C, in that on September 10th, 2025 in Utah County, the defendant, Tyler James Robinson, discharged a firearm in the direction of Charlie Kirk, knowing or having reason to believe that Charlie Kirk may be endangered by the discharge of the firearm and that the act caused serious bodily injury to Charlie Kirk. Victim targeting.
I will spare you the full clip there. It's about 7 minutes long. But here is where Senator Eric Schmidt goes nuclear for 10 minutes straight. We'll just play a portion of this for you. This was from the oversight hearing today with Kash Patel.
Or that we can have a free exchange of ideas, and he was quite literally shot in the throat in an attempt to silence him and take his life. And so you have this task now of this investigation. There's been an arrest. But I think that we face an even larger crisis that law enforcement alone can't tackle alone. It's a crisis that has culminated in the assassination of Charlie. But it doesn't end there. It's I think every bit present right now. And the challenge is greater than quite frankly, I would have imagined. Seeing some of the comments that have taken place after the assassination, and something that I think as a country we have to reckon with. And it's something deeper, much deeper than a rejection of law and order or the norms of civil society. We've entered a very dangerous time, I think, in our country. And that should be clear to everyone. Political violence is a sign of a deep and corrosive sickness in any society. But in America today, the problem is just not political violence in the abstract. It is the specific kind of political violence which is overwhelmingly driven by a specific set of actors and groups. None of this emerged out of thin air. Over the past week, leaders from across the political spectrum have come out and forcefully condemned Charlie's murder and political violence more broadly. For that, we're all very grateful. We should be grateful. There have been calls to unite and come together in the wake of Charlie's murder, and I want to do that. I do. Someday I pray that we can be united as a country again and go forward together as a one people and under one flag, but we are not united. Upstream from the dehumanization and demonizing political violence and rhetoric tearing apart our country is a divide on how we view America and Americans. Is America good? Is America evil? Is there something inherently special about Western civilization, or is this 2,000-year project rotten to the core? And if it is something worth fighting for, which I believe, how do we do it? With words and ideas like Charlie did, or with firebombs and assassins' bullets? Political violence is always wrong. Period. Full stop. It doesn't matter which side, in the name of any ideology or cause, it's wrong. But in America today, political violence is not a problem that falls equally upon both sides. We have to be honest about this. We must reject an attempt to paint it as some kind of random phenomenon with no particular creed or ideology, a kind of spontaneous insanity which takes place outside of any broader social context and has no pattern at all. That's wrong. So free speech, yes. Political violence, no. But we have to be honest about what's happening. Already, we're hearing people talk about Charlie's assassination in those terms. We're told that we can't possibly know what drove a killer to plan and carry out a murder of the most prominent conservative activist in America. But that's a lie. We do know. The facts are plain and clear, and we have to speak truth in this moment, or there's no other side of the mountain. The vast majority of Americans are against political violence, but there is a vocal, active minority that encourages and celebrates it, and that minority is overwhelmingly on the left. Just last week, a YouGov poll found that a full 25% of those people who describe themselves as very liberal say it can be justified for citizens to use violence to achieve political goals. Less than 3% of very conservative Americans say the same. That's too many. That is 3% too many. But we are lying if we think that this is a both sides thing. It's not. We have to confront it. And you're going to have an important job of rooting out these terrorists.
And that brings me back to my post in my thread that Representative Anna Paulina Luna posted, confirming Armed Queers SLC under FBI investigation as extended network related to Charlie's killer. That these are the groups that are radicalizing people to defend equality. I mean, look at that T-shirt. Defend equality. The pride flag behind an AR-15. Is that how you defend equality? By targeting Charlie Kirk? This person on your screen was awarded by a State Department affiliated group just a few years ago. This is only the beginning. As more facts become available, we will be here to deliver them directly to you. In the meantime, continue to pray for Charlie Kirk, his family, and all those affected by this senseless act of violence. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. So why does this matter? It matters because we are watching the blueprint for political violence unfold in real time. When federal agencies crown militant radicals with diplomatic awards, when they scrub the evidence after blood spills, when they target the very conservatives fighting back, that's not incompetence, that's complicity. The same government that spied on 92 Republican groups through Arctic frost gave legitimacy to the networks that produced Charlie Kirk's killer. They validated hate. They funded the ecosystem, and when the bullets flew, they tried to make it all disappear. So here's my question. Do you believe any federal official will face real consequences for enabling this assassination? Yes or no? Drop it in the comments right now. Because until these people see handcuffs, they will do it again. And if you're as fired up as I am, you can support our work here at the Next News Network. Check out our merch shop. It's linked down below. Wear your defiance and show them we will not forget Charlie Kirk. Oh, man. I still can't believe that this is happening. AJ Cruz, thank you for your $2. I'd rather read the phone book than Kamala's book. $2 from them. And Amy the Huntress. Gary, I know it's not much, but it's from the heart. Much love to you and your staff. RIH Charlie Kirk. Thank you, Amy, for that $5. We appreciate you. We're moving right along into our next topic because we have some more breaking information that has just come to light regarding communications with respect to the shooter and his lover, and some of the fireworks from the oversight hearing today. Amazing remarks by senators. But let's get into it now. Silicon Valley just got caught red-handed in the biggest tech cover-up of the year. When a political assassination confesses on your platform, you can't just hit delete and pretend it never happened, but that's exactly what Discord tried to do. Their executives swore under questioning they found zero evidence of violence planning. Then, boom, prosecutors dropped the killer's actual confession posted right there on Discord. 20-plus people from his server now under FBI investigation. This isn't about protecting users or following terms of service. This is about a tech giant scrambling to hide their platform's role in coordinating a political murder. And the digital receipts are in, and Discord's story is falling apart. Wait till you hear the exchange. And when political violence strikes and tech platforms scramble to cover their tracks, you need to ask yourself, what else are they hiding? Just like Discord tried to bury evidence of a killer's confession, there are toxins in your body that mainstream health companies don't want you addressing. And that's where ageless multi-collagen comes in. It provides your skin with 5 premium collagen types to reduce wrinkles naturally. Since I started taking it, I've seen smoother skin, better elasticity, and fewer fine lines. It mixes perfectly with coffee, no clumps, no taste. Get 51% off at healthwithgary.com right now. The link is in the description, and we thank our sponsors for making this show and our reporting possible. Now, this 24 hours ago, Discord initially claimed Charlie Kirk's assassin never used the platform to plan or promote violence. Judd Hoffman, Discord's VP of Trusted Safety, said they found no evidence the suspect planned the incident or promoted violence on Discord. This morning, Kash Patel and Dan Bongino confirmed there was a Discord chat with 20-plus members, and new reporting out reveals that Tyler Robinson, the assassin, sent a final message to the group admitting his guilt and then stating he was turning himself in. The information came directly from Discord and was shared with law enforcement. The public demands accountability and transparency. Discord must be fully investigated for covering up and potentially attempting to destroy evidence in a criminal investigation. Some of the headlines here. Discord says platform not used in suspect's murder. There's the suspect now being charged with the death penalty. And we have the full Discord conversation. He said, it was me at UVU yesterday. I'm sorry for all of this. That's what Tyler Robbins, the alleged Charlie Kirk killer, said in a Discord chat. The quick wrap-up of the event. Ring any bells? Mom, is this Mark Bingham? You've got to believe me, it's true. Mark Bingham calling his mother from Flight 93. So sad to consider that. So here is the alleged partial chat log between Tyler Robinson and his trans lover, Lance Luna Twiggs, on the day of Charlie Kirk's assassination. This was released by the prosecutor's office in the criminal complaint. Andy No posting it. You can see the back and forth. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to read some of this to you because it is absolutely chilling. Let's see if we have, I know it was brought up in the, okay, so here it is. Okay, so the DA actually read the communication. I haven't seen the video of it yet, but I think it's probably better that I read it to you because sometimes these politicians, they just don't know. They don't know how to read. So this was 4 hours ago. Utah County DA reads the full text message exchange between Charlie Kirk's assassin and his transgender boyfriend roommate after committing the murder. Okay, Robinson says, drop what you're doing. Look under my keyboard. The roommate says, you're joking, right? Robinson replies, I'm still okay, my love. Shouldn't be long until I can come home, but I got to grab my rifle still. To be honest, I'd hoped to keep this secret till I died of old age. I'm sorry to involve you. The roommate, you weren't the one who did it, right? Robinson replies, I am. I'm sorry. The roommate says, I thought they caught the person. No. Robinson replies, they grabbed some crazy old dude, then interrogated someone in similar clothing. I had planned to grab my rifle for my drop point shortly after, but most of that side of town got locked down. It's quiet, almost enough to get out, but there's one vehicle lingering. Now, we're learning about the individual that the old dude he's referring to here has also been charged and has admitted that he intentionally wanted to be a decoy so that Robinson could get away. Now, it's unclear if there was coordination between the two. That fact will surely come out in the future. So the roommate replies, after he says there's a vehicle lingering, he says, why? Robinson says, why did I do it? I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out. If I'm able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence going to attempt to retrieve it again. Hopefully, they've moved on. I haven't seen anything about them finding it. Roommate replies, how long have you been planning this? Robinson says a bit over a week, I believe. I can get close to it, but there's a squad car parked right by it. I think they already swept that spot, but I don't want to chance it. I'm wishing I had circled back and grabbed it as soon as I got to my vehicle. I'm worried what my old man would do if I didn't bring back Grandpa's rifle. So now we know it was his grandfather's rifle. In the previous exchange, we found that it was a gift to Robinson directly. It says IDEK, if it had a serial number. I don't know if it had a serial number, but it wouldn't trace to me. I worry about prints. I had to leave it in a bush where I changed outfits. I might have to abandon it and hope they don't find prints. Well, they did. Continuing, how the F will I explain losing it to my old man? Only thing I left was the rifle wrapped in a towel. Remember how he was engraving bullets? The F in messages are mostly a big meme. I see notice bulge UWU on Fox News. I might have a stroke, all right. I'm going to have to leave it. That really effing sucks. Judging from today, I'd say Grandpa's gun does just fine. I don't know. I think it was like a $2,000 scope. He says, delete this exchange. My dad wants photos of the rifle. He says Grandpa wants to know who has what. The feds released a photo of the rifle, and it's very unique. He's calling me right now, not answering. Since Trump got into office, my dad has been pretty diehard MAGA. I'm going to turn myself in willingly. One of my neighbors here is a deputy for the sheriff. Again, you are all I worry about, love. Don't take any interviews or make any comments. If any police ask you questions, ask a lawyer and stay silent. That's the Discord exchange that has now been released. The FBI director, Kash Patel, just said over 20 people are being investigated in the assassination of Charlie Kirk. This includes members of Tyler Robinson's Discord server.
The Kirk has done in this investigation. Is the FBI investigating?
Senator Josh Hawley talking to Kash Patel at the oversight hearing a few hours ago.
Has done in this investigation. Is the FBI investigating the Kirk assassination as part of this broader pattern of anti-religious, anti-Christian violence?
We are investigating Charlie's assassination fully and completely and running out every lead related to any allegation of broader violence, and we're producing results on that we'll disclose when appropriate.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. Let me just ask you a few questions about that if I could. Sure. Reports have suggested that the FBI is investigating a broader network of groups that may have had some knowledge of the shooter's plans. Can you give us any details on that, following up what you already said in public? How's the FBI working to find other potential accomplices, folks who may have known about the shooter's plans, folks who may have encouraged him? Any update on any of that?
So in terms of what we do for an interrogation perspective, we go and reach out to the family and community immediately. And we've conducted those investigations and interrogations with local law enforcement, and we're continuing to do that because those closest to the suspect are going to hopefully know the most about the suspect and his beliefs and his ideology. On top of that, unfortunately, it has been leaked that there was a Discord chat, and for those unfamiliar with it, it's a gaming chat room online that the suspect participated in. So what we're doing, we've already done, is serve legal process, not just on Discord, so that the information we gathered is sustained and held in a evidentiary posture that we could use in prosecution should it be decided to do so. And we're also going to be investigating anyone and everyone involved in that Discord chat.
Okay, very good. I see the public reports that the Discord thread had as many as 20 additional users. It sounds like you're trying to run down all of that to see if that's accurate, who else may have been on that thread, what they may have known. Is that fair to say?
It's a lot more than that, and we're running them all down.
It's a lot more than 20?
Yes, sir.
And you're running all of that to ground?
Every single one.
Yeah, fantastic. Let me just turn to the broader question here of
so more than 20 people potentially had foreknowledge of this as the discussions were had on the Discord server. Connor Tomlinson says Discord needs to be subpoenaed. 3 days ago, they said Tyler Robinson didn't use their platform to plan the assassination of Charlie Kirk, but the Washington Post just published Robinson's messages to a group chat where he confesses to killing. A broad network of groups had intel.
To hopefully know the most.
Reports have suggested that the FBI is investigating a broader network of groups that may have
that the suspect participated in. So what we're doing, we've already done, is serve legal process, not just on Discord, so that the information we gathered is sustained and held in a evidentiary posture that we could use in prosecution should it be decided to do so. And we're also going to be investigating anyone and everyone involved in that Discord chat.
Okay, very good. I see the public reports that the Discord thread had as many as 20 additional users. It sounds like you're trying to run down.
Now, we've also got this here. This is the official remarks from Jeff Gray, Utah County District Attorney.
Those messages to police. At Robinson's father's request, the family friend met with Robinson and his parents and convinced Robinson to turn himself in. The family friend spoke to police and reported telling Robinson that it would be best if he brought all evidence with him to the sheriff's office to avoid police having to search his parents' home. The friend also asked Robinson if he had any clothes that were related to what he did. Robinson replied that he had disposed of the clothes in different areas. The roommate. Police interviewed Robinson's roommate, a biological male who was involved in a romantic relationship with Robinson. The roommate told police that the roommate received messages from Robinson about the shooting, and he did provide those messages to police. On September 10th, 2025, the roommate received a text message from Robinson which said, "Drop what you're doing. Look under my keyboard." The roommate looked under the keyboard and found a note that stated, quote, "I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it." Police found a photograph of this note. The following text exchange, then took place. After reading the note, the roommate responded, "What? You're joking, right?" Robinson, "I am still okay, my love, but I'm stuck in Orem for a little while longer yet. Shouldn't be long until I can come home, but I gotta grab my rifle still. To be honest, I had hoped to keep this secret till I died of old age. I am sorry to involve you." Roommate, "You weren't the one who did it, right?" Robinson, I am. I'm sorry." Roommate, "I thought they caught the person." Robinson, "No, they grabbed some crazy old dude, then interrogated someone in similar clothing. I had planned to grab my rifle from my drop point shortly after, but most of that side of town got locked down. It's quiet, almost enough to get out, but there's one vehicle lingering." Roommate, "Why?" Robinson, "Why did I do it?" Roommate, "Yeah." Robinson, "I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out. If I am able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence. Going to attempt to retrieve it again. Hopefully they have moved on. I haven't seen anything about them finding it." Roommate, "How long have you been planning this?" Robinson, "A bit over a week, I believe. I can get close to it, but there is a squad car parked right by it. I think they already swept that spot, but I don't want to chance it." Robinson again, "I'm wishing I had circled back and grabbed it as soon as I got to my vehicle. I'm worried what my old man would do if I didn't bring back Grandpa's rifle. IDEK if it's had a serial number, but it wouldn't trace to me. I worry about prints. I had to leave it in a bush where I changed outfits. Didn't have the ability or time to bring it with. I might have to abandon it and hope they don't find prints. How the F will I explain losing it to my old man? Only thing I left was the rifle wrapped in a towel. Remember how I was engraving bullets? The F in messages are mostly a big meme. If I see notice bulge UWU on Fox News, I might have a stroke, all right. I'm going to have to leave it. That really effing sucks. Judging from today, I'd say Grandpa's gun does just fine, IDK. I think that was a $2K dollar scope. Wink, wink. Robinson again, delete this exchange. Again, Robinson, my dad wants photos of the rifle. He says Grandpa wants to know who has what. The feds released a photo of the rifle, and it is very unique. He's calling me, RN, not answering. Robinson, since Trump got into office, my dad has been pretty diehard MAGA. Robinson, I'm going to turn myself in willingly. One of my neighbors here is a deputy for the sheriff. Again, you are all I worry about, love. That came from Robinson. Roommate, I'm much more worried about you. Robinson, don't talk to the media, please. Don't take any interviews or make any comments. If any police ask you questions, ask for a lawyer and stay silent. The search for Robinson's residence. Police executed a search warrant on Robinson's residence. During that search, police discovered a shell casing with etchings like the etchings found on the shells in the rifle near UVU. Police also found several target boards with bullet holes in Robinson's home. Now, as I stated in the beginning, when I read those allegations,
So now you have the official remarks regarding the Discord exchange. And now we have this. Tyler Robinson, Charlie Kirk's killer, went by the username Crafton247 on Steam and Venmo, Crafton248 on Reddit, Zealous Monkey 55095 on Discord. The official Venmo account of Tyler Robinson has been discovered, and the Steam account with the Kermit the Frog profile picture. This user has also played as these usernames Crafton, Donald Trump, Craftini247, and Crafton247. Steam is an online gaming community. As we all know, he surrendered. It was me. I'm sorry for all this. He wrote, I'm surrendering through a sheriff friend in a few moments. 20 plus people now being investigated as connected to this assassination against Charlie Kirk. Here's an image of the roommate and who was in the communication with Robinson. So we're going to continue to track this. This is the exchange. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. So this is the smoking gun that proves big tech is not neutral. They are active participants in political violence cover-ups. Discord knew exactly what was on their servers. Tyler Robinson's confession, his manifesto to his trans lover about killing Kirk over hatred. The coordination with 20 plus others now under FBI probe. They had it all and lied to your face. So think about what this means. The platform that your kids use for gaming is the same one harboring assassination plots. And when caught, their executives choose cover up over coming clean. So here's my question. Should Discord executives face criminal charges for obstruction of justice in this case? Drop a yes or no, sound off in the comments, because trying to lie about evidence in a political assassination isn't a crime. If it isn't a crime, then we've already lost the republic. This is bigger than one platform. This is about accountability for Silicon Valley's role in radicalizing killers. Show them that you are watching and support our work here at the Next News Network on your way out by visiting shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. All right. Our next topic is pretty explosive. Don't go anywhere. I saw somebody commented, what's wrong with Gary? He seems pretty monotone. Yeah, this is all very trying on my soul every single day, tracking this. Irving stopping by, dropping $45.47. Universities today are grooming the next gen of real-life idiocracy. Thank you, Irving, for that. And Sneaks has just become a member. Welcome to the family. All right, don't go anywhere. More news. Wait till you find out what the media is doing. This is, I think, probably some of the sickest stuff I've seen. But it's all par for the course here. All par for the course. Oh, and Starbucks too, even. Yeah. Okay. The corporate media just showed their true colors, and it's sickening. While Charlie Kirk's blood was still fresh, while his family was planning a funeral, ABC News looked at text messages from his confessed killer and called them, wait for it, touching. Not horrifying, not evidence of premeditated murder. Touching. Because the assassin called his transgender roommate my love while admitting to political murder. This is the same media that turned every January 6th selfie into terrorism. But when a conservative icon gets gunned down, suddenly they're writing romantic poetry about the killer's final messages. And the bias is no longer hidden. It is right there in your face. Now, we did recently cover a company called Western Star Resources here on the channel, a gold and silver exploration company we believed had serious potential for U.S. expansion. Well, it looks like that move is already in motion. Western Star, they just signed an MOU with the American Corp to push forward their U.S. growth strategy. And here's why the timing is important. With domestic demand for precious metals climbing year after year, and with the U.S. government making it clear they want more homegrown exploration instead of relying on foreign supply, companies like Western Star are in a prime position. Now, this is not just about mining. It's about national security, economic stability, and capturing a huge market opportunity. Western Star's expertise, combined with supportive policy environment, means that they are stepping into the U.S. market under the best possible conditions. Could a huge U.S. expansion be next? So I wouldn't bet against it. Western Star Resources making gold and silver great again, and we thank them for sponsoring this program and making this show possible. Lots to unpack in this one. The trash media added again, not just the trash media, but also Starbucks. Check this out. A patron went into Starbucks this morning and ordered Charlie Kirk's favorite drink, Mint Majesty with honey. When their cup came back, it was marked with the word loser across it. No customer should ever be mocked or insulted because of what they order or they believe. This is blatant bias, unprofessional, and unacceptable. Call Starbucks out and demand accountability. Share the story. Don't let corporations get away with politically driven harassment. Apparently, this happened at the Starbucks number 47593 in Chicago. This is the picture of the cup, the Green Mint Majesty, and they wrote loser right there on the cup. Unbelievable. Sick people. And speaking of sick people, Jasmine Crockett, she's been doing some nasty stuff, and she's on the chopping block. Here's another moment at Starbucks, too. This was posted by Derek Evans. Americans have been ordering Charlie Kirk's favorite Starbucks drink in his honor. The Starbucks employee says their system's been programmed to ban the name Charlie Kirk.
Okay.
This is in...
You want 2, honey? 2? Okay. Hi, let me get a grande mint majesty with 2 honeys.
I'm hearing up over here, okay?
Okay.
Perfect. What else today?
Oh, that's it.
Perfect. What was the name for the order? Or actually, do you need a name?
The name is Charlie Kirk.
We can't do political names, but it didn't even ask for a name to begin with, so it's going to be $3.75, okay?
Oh, but can you write the name on the cup?
The sticker won't print.
Oh, you can't write on it?
I could, but I can write Charlie.
Why can't you write the whole name?
Because it's political.
Political?
Yes, yeah. Let me start your key for you, okay? And it's going to be $3.75 today.
You know what? Forget it. I don't want it.
Yeah, I'm sure if you gave them any other name, they would be happy to write it. So where do we begin? I mean, Don Lemon making some nasty comments. Don Lemon says MAGA doesn't really care about Charlie Kirk. They're using this moment for clicks.
Thing is the thing that is so obvious about it. And I think this is so disgusting is that you don't really care. You don't really care about Charlie Kirk. What you care is that this is a moment that you can use for clicks, to boost your podcast or your streaming show or your radio show or your television show or your news show or your MAGA bona fides with the MAGA group or your political stripes, that you can improve it, or you can have a moment where you're crying in front of the cameras. You gather all the reporters at the Capitol and you go, and it's your fault, and it's your fault, and it's the left and whatever. And the thing that is so obvious about it.
Yeah, he's just one of them. Rachel Maddow, too. We found this. This is beautiful news. New College of Florida announces Charlie Kirk statue to honor the assassinated conservative icon to defend and fight for free speech and civil discourse in American life. Look at that. New College of Florida posting this picture, a bronze statue of Charlie Kirk sitting at a table with a microphone, hoping for conversation and dialogue. Representative Derek Van Orden, Republican of Wisconsin, tells legacy media reporters to their faces that they're complicit in the attempts on President Trump's life and for the taking of Charlie Kirk's. The reporter tries to interrupt, and he tells her to be quiet.
Assassination, yes. Every one of you. You're complicit in the attempted assassination of Donald Trump twice. You bear. Just be quiet. You are responsible for this because you are echoing the horrifically horrible political violent rhetoric that's being produced by the Democrat Party. Every single one of you here.
How can you say
you're
that
at fault?
You don't even know who the shooter is.
You know what? Knock it off. Knock it off.
Do you believe Republicans have problematic rhetoric?
You are responsible for that assassination yesterday, and you should be ashamed of yourself. What about this? It's disgusting.
Telling it like it is. Here's a clip from Rachel Maddow. No, let's go to this one. ABC. ABC reports the text messages of Kirk's suspected killer confessing to the murder are very touching.
In a way that I think we have seen an alleged murder with such specific text messages about the alleged murder weapon, where it was hidden, how it was placed, what was on it, but also it was very touching in a way that I think many of us didn't expect. A very intimate portrait into this relationship between the suspect's roommate and the suspect himself, with him repeatedly calling his roommate who is transitioning, calling him my love, and I want to protect you, my love. So it was this duality of someone who the attorney said not only jeopardized the life of Charlie Kirk and the crowd, but was doing it in front of children, which is one of the aggravating circumstances of this case. And on the other hand, he was, speaking so lovingly about his partner. So a very interesting and, as Pierre said, riveting press conference, David.
It was tough.
Yeah. Calling my love. On PBS, the Atlantic staff writer David Frum claims that anger over people making light of Charlie Kirk's murder hurt is a powerful resource for a president who is afraid he's going to lose 2026. That Trump is going to leverage this for 2026.
Asserted power. What I am concerned about is the president and his supporters are making it clear they intend to go after not violent extremists, but simply people who are fundraising to defeat them in elections. The great question that has been haunting America before this assassination is, will the president allow the 2026 midterm elections to be free and fair? Will he try to gerrymander? Will he try to use the power of government to stop his opponents from fundraising? Will he try to use his new asserted powers to detain people without due process against people who are campaigning against him? Those are the issues that you have to worry about. It's not about violent extremism today. Today, what we're worried about is, will we have free and fair elections? And as Stephen Miller indicated, as the president said in his nationally televised address, that's the target they're after.
How does Kirk's assassination directly, in your view, play a role in this plan that you're concerned about, that you say is growing increasingly obvious from the rhetoric from the president and his advisors?
Look, after a terrible crime in the internet age, you will find any number of people or bots on the internet saying things that are reprehensible, stupid, provocative, unfeeling. And people who experience the world through online life will see those reprehensible statements and will have natural reactions. Of course, you get if you liked and admired Charlie Kirk, you will be hurt by someone who makes light of the terrible murder. And that feeling of hurt is a powerful resource for a president who is afraid he's going to lose the 2026 elections if they're free and fair, and who has been looking from the beginning and for ways to make sure those elections are not free and fair. So that the emotions of Charlie Kirk supporters are a resource that President Trump and Stephen Miller and those around them are hoping to use, not against criminals, but just against people who want to vote a different way.
Unbelievable. Yeah, Charlie Kirk's death is going to be a rallying cry. That's the truth. Here, we have this. This is from The Motive Remains Elusive. CBS Evening News asserting Charlie Kirk assassination.
A new 5 days after Charlie Kirk's murder, the shooter's motive remains elusive. No writings left behind, vague secondhand testimony. That uncertainty and the risk of drawing sweeping conclusions suggests the murder may share similarities with recent violence not driven by an obvious political ideology. The FBI recently recognized a new category, nihilistic violent extremism. For tonight's interview, we are joined by Matthew Kreiner, the executive director of the Institute for Countering Digital Extremism.
I'm not even going to go there, man. These people are so sick. No motive. Oh, really? Here's Rachel Maddow ranting that Trump's using Charlie Kirk's assassination to crack down on the left, painting it as a dictator's playbook.
For some Another headline today, quote, White House plans broad crackdown on liberal groups. They're saying now they will use the horrific murder of pro-Trump activist Charlie Kirk last week as a justification for some undefined whole-of-government attack on what they always describe very vaguely as the left in this country.
Oh, yeah, there needs to be a crackdown, Rachel. There needs to be a crackdown on all these groups who are not only funding, but radicalizing people like Robinson to kill. How do we get there? How are they financed? All these groups need to be shut down.
Whatever else you think about what Trump is trying to do in office, there is no drama. Right? There's no uncertainty. There's no ambiguity about the agenda, right? It is the textbook agenda of every right-wing strongman everywhere, right? They all do the same thing. They tell people there is an enemy within that demands emergency measures, right?
Yeah.
There's an enemy.
Yeah, there is an emergency. There is an enemy within. Okay, Rachel? And you have helped foster them with your rhetoric for year after year after year.
Within that's nefarious and is responsible for all the terrible things. And so therefore we must have emergency powers and toughness and we must take off the gloves and break the rules, right? That's textbook stuff. Then you use your control of government to take over or intimidate every source of power and authority in the country, whether or not it has anything to do with the presidency, right? This means crucially the media, but also science and the arts and education and business and the professions. any source of authority or potential opposition or truth-telling about the bad behavior of the dear leader, that must be shut down. He must consolidate power to include those institutions, even though they are outside of government. Then, next, use your control of government and those institutions to enrich yourself and your family and your allies.
Yeah, I'm done watching Rachel Maddow. Sorry, didn't mean to fill your feed with that, but we have to present to you what the media is saying and how they're framing this. Here we have President Trump unleashing on Ilhan Omar of Somalia. Oh, yeah, she's in some deep, deep crap right now.
The way people. Ilhan Omar, after his assassination, called Charlie Kirk a reprehensible human being. Should she be stripped of her community assignments?
I would say I think she's a disgraceful person. You know, I think she's a disgraceful person, a loser. It's amazing the way people vote. I know it's people from her area, maybe of the world. I don't know. They got here and they vote her in. It's hard to believe, but I think she's a disgusting person.
And one more question, if I could.
She is a disgusting person. Now we're learning that Nancy Mace is going to censor Ilhan Omar. Ready to follow through and submit to get Ilhan Omar removed from congressional committees. Here is... Oh, we got Kid Rock, too. This is going to be good. That's coming up. Here is... Where's the clip from... I had it here. Nancy Mace. Bear with me for a second here. Okay, so Nancy Mace posted this 23 hours ago. Ilhan Omar has shown us exactly who she is. She defends political violence and refuses to condemn the loss of innocent lives when it doesn't suit her agenda, even the cold-blooded assassination of Charlie Kirk. Here is Nancy Mace on the House floor 4 hours ago, officially filing resolution to remove Ilhan Omar from her committee.
House. Mr. Speaker, pursuant to Clause 2A1 of Rule 9, I rise to give notice of my intent to raise a question of the privileges of the House. The form of the resolution is as follows. House Resolution 713, censuring Representative Ilhan Omar of Minnesota and removing her from the Committee on Education and Workforce and the Committee on the Budget. Whereas Charlie Kirk was a lifelong advocate for freedom of speech, civil political discourse, and the political engagement of youth. Whereas Charlie Kirk was a man of deep faith, a husband and a father to 2 young children. Whereas on September 10, 2025, Charlie Kirk was assassinated on the campus of Utah Valley University while exercising his First Amendment right to freedom of speech. Whereas on September 11, 2025, one day after the assassination of Charlie Kirk, Representative Ilhan Omar gave an interview on Zateo's town hall with Mehdi Hassan in which she smeared Charlie Kirk and implied he was to blame for his own murder. Whereas on September 12, 2025, 2 days after the assassination of Charlie Kirk, Representative Ilhan Omar reposted a video on X, formerly known as Twitter, which disparaged the character of Charlie Kirk and those mourning his death. Whereas the video Representative Ilhan Omar reposted on X states Charlie Kirk is dead, and before the body got cold, the far right propped his corpse up as a cudgel for their holy war. Whereas the video Representative Ilhan Omar reposted on X further states, don't be fooled. These people don't give a single shit about Charlie Kirk. They're just using his death to further their Christo-fascist agenda. Whereas the video Representative Ilhan Omar reposted on X further states Charlie Kirk was a reprehensible human being. He enacted his political agenda by preying on weak-minded people. He took complex socioeconomic issues and simplified them by pointing fingers at outgroups, demonizing those groups, and sicking his massive following on them. Whereas the video Representative Ilhan Omar reposted on X further states Charlie Kirk was a stochastic terrorist, an adamant transphobe, He denied the genocide happening in Palestine. He believed the subjugation of women, and in his last dying words, he was spewing racist dog whistles. Whereas the video Representative Ilhan Omar reposted on X further states, Charlie Kirk was Dr. Frankenstein, and his monster shot him through the neck. Whereas the video Representative Ilhan Omar reposted on X further blames Charlie Kirk for his own murder. Whereas Clause 1 of Rule 13 of the Rules of the House of Representatives provides a member, delegate, resident commissioner, officer, or employee of the House shall behave at all times in a manner that shall reflect credibility on the House. Whereas Representative Ilhan Omar's actions in the wake of the assassination of Charlie Kirk are reprehensible and affect the dignity and integrity of the proceedings of the House and do not reflect the credibility on the House. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Representative Ilhan Omar of Minnesota be censured. Representative Ilhan Omar forthwith present herself in the well of the House of Representatives for the pronouncement of censure. Representative Ilhan Omar be censured with the public reading of this resolution by the Speaker, and Representative Ilhan Omar be and is hereby removed from the Committee on Education and Workforce and removed from the Committee on the Budget of the House.
Resolution offered from the floor by a member other than the majority leader.
Mr. Speaker.
Let's go. Let's go. Remove her. We got some other clips here we pulled for you guys. Here's more from Nancy Mace on Ilhan Omar.
Office. Here I am standing outside of the anti-American Ilhan Omar's office. Tomorrow we will file a privileged motion to censure her and to strip her of her committee assignments. She is inciting violence against conservatives in the wake of Charlie Kirk's political assassination. She is dehumanizing conservatives all across the country, calling Charlie Kirk a terrorist. We have been villainized and dehumanized far too long. The Democrats set the standard for stripping people of their committee assignments. I'm not going to be silent on this because enough is enough.
Enough is enough. We do have I want to hear what Kid Rock had to say. He was on with Jesse Waters, and here it is. Okay, Kid Rock says the mainstream media is public enemy number one.
Media establishment. I've said it and I'll say it again because I think it needs to be echoed until they get it through their fat skulls. The mainstream media is frickin' public enemy number one right now. Just the clips you just ran of these people from the New York Times and these other nut houses they call media establishments. It's absolutely frickin' ridiculous. I mean, and then they say that, Charlie Kirk, God bless him, by the way, his wife, kids, that, he's inciting this, he's inciting that. I'm someone who understands better than anyone as being a very vocal Trump supporter from day one. They've called me a racist Nazi for years now. I mean, go look up a few facts about my life, my children, where everything. But start to echo this. Just people who write dumb articles who think, I'm trash and they hate my music and they say he's just a racist Nazi. And, this starts to build and build and build. So you get these nut house kids who are doing nothing but playing video games, watching these occult movies that are all over our streaming services. That won't go outside to play any sports or anything. And, then they think they're going to do something good. I'm going to go kill a Nazi. I'm going to go kill a racist. And they're literally mentally deranged. We need to bring the frickin' nut houses back.
Yeah, you're incentivizing these loner kids to take shots so they can be heroes. And then every time after it happens, kid, they say, oh, we all have to come together. We all have to come to both sides are violent, both sides, and then they just move on and start calling us fascist again.
Well, I've heard a lot of my liberal friends say it, and they're exactly right. Like, You don't want to mess with us people. We have the guns. We know how to use them. And nobody wants that. Nobody wants an all-out war. We understand that everyone on the left is not sick, but there are enough people in the media and enough of these crazy liberals that just create this big echo chamber. And I'm not saying there aren't crazy right-wingers that do some of this too. There's a little bit of guilty on both sides, but these people, I mean, they're supposed to be this inclusive, this, that, and the other. And they're the ones that don't want to talk and get along with anyone, just don't even want to sit down and break bread. I mean, I'm in this business where some of my friends, people I've had big hits with, call me with this whack out stuff all the time.
Yeah, we got to start listening to each other and respect one another. Is there any message you want to get across real quickly to people that are still vandalizing vigils and celebrating this murder?
Yeah, you're going to keep it up. You're going to run into the wrong people. Yeah. Some people I know.
Yeah,
and aren't going to play that mess, and it's not going to be pretty. It's going to be very ugly.
And we don't want it to get that way.
I've said it, and I'll say it again because I think
we don't want it to get that way. Here's Jasmine Crockett says calling Republicans Hitler and Nazis and fascists did not contribute to Charlie Kirk's assassination.
I'd like to ask you to respond to critics who have pointed the finger at Democrats who have used phrases like fascist or Hitler, made comparisons to those things over time. Do you think that that's contributed to this, or are those critics wrong?
They're absolutely wrong. Here's the reality. They don't want American people to know any forms of history. We know that there was news out today about the president going after yet more historical information. The reality is that when we look at what is taking place, when you look at an authoritarian, and what they do is they try to basically say, you have to do whatever the government says, even if that means that your personal freedoms are going to be subjected to whatever we say, whether it's right or wrong. Right now, our personal freedoms are constantly under attack.
I'd like to ask you to respond.
Oh, wow. Here is, we have this MSNBC's Zed Rosny suggesting people on the internet are cheering for the murder is the opposite of what's happening.
Opposite. I think if you look across media generally, you have seen a lot of people trying to grapple with Charlie Kirk's legacy and what that is as a right-wing agitator and as a provocateur and as, a strategist and the most important GOP figure besides Donald Trump, arguably ever. And so, or right now. And so there's a lot of grappling to do, but to suggest that the internet is cheering for this is just the opposite. Total opposite of what's actually happening. It is.
Wow.
I think if you look at
that is gaslighting if I've ever seen it. Oh, we got a great exchange here. Cornel West storming off the set during a debate over Charlie Kirk's murder. But I got this clip here. Here is Hakeem Jeffries is asked about his responsibility to curb and condemn vile rhetoric about Charlie Kirk's murder from Democrats like Ilhan Omar. His response that Trump is the problem.
Political violence.
What do you think your responsibility is as the leader of the Democrats to curb rhetoric that might be inflammatory, and specifically that of Omar?
We have made clear that political violence directed at anyone in any way or in any place is unacceptable in the United States of America, and every member of Congress and certainly the President of the United States have a responsibility to take the temperature down and ensure that we are lifting people up.
Yeah, well, that's not what Ilhan Omar has been doing at all. We've got this clip from J.B. Pritzker, Kevin Dalton posting, J.B. Pritzker, I never called them Nazis. Also J.B. Pritzker, okay, so maybe I called Trump, Hitler, and Republican Nazis on a couple occasions.
A constitution. That is completely false. I have never called Republicans Nazis.
Everything that he has done has been tearing down constitutional democracy. Mm-hmm. And that's what happened in Nazi Germany. It doesn't take very long to tear apart a constitutional republic. Indeed, the Nazis did it in 53 days. And our democracy is almost as fragile. And we're seeing it right now. The dangers that we saw in Nazi Germany, especially in the earliest days of Nazi Germany, are the dangers that we need to react to now. If we don't, things will get much, much worse. And so we've got to raise alarm bells to everybody. It's a 5-alarm fire, everyone.
Oh, yeah. Look at all those tweets. All those tweets from Pritzker. Yeah. He is part of the problem, too, with his rhetoric. What's not part of the problem are these students who stood up to their school board at Barrington High School. Students show up to the school board meeting to call out and demand the firing of a teacher who celebrated Charlie Kirk's assassination. The teacher deserves to lose his job.
Yeah. And as a people, we've decided to come up and give our perspective on the subject, considering it is our teacher and one of the people that will guide our futures. No matter what anyone says to me, I will never stand for violence, especially of a man who was publicly murdered in front of his wife, one of his children, thousands of students, and other bystanders. Charlie was not a racist, he did not hurt anyone sexually, and he did not kill anyone. Therefore, this was...
Unjustified cause of death should never be celebrated. They are calling for their teacher's firing. Who's at fault here? Who's at fault here? The media. CNN commentator Kate Bedingfield claims that she's seen nothing negative about Charlie Kirk from Democrats.
They condemn it.
So for it's on the bullet case.
I have seen nothing but Democrats in the wake of this murder saying that it was awful.
You've seen nothing?
I have seen them
literally nothing?
Elected Democrats, I have seen them saying nothing but it was horrific, that they condemn it, that they are sorry for his family, that this is an awful moment in the country. I've seen President Trump do nothing but say it was the Democrats' fault.
Can I just jump in here for a second?
Lulu, yes, go ahead.
I just want to read the words of someone who I think is very wise in the wake of 2019.
So for it's on the
Yeah, it's on the books. It's on the bullets. The media continuing to gaslight America. Oh, speaking of gaslighting, here's this Letitia James telling Joy Reid mortgage fraud allegations against her are baseless. Yeah, Tish out there trying to gaslight us as well. But I think we got a lot of problems here. Starbucks. But at least we have this beautiful thing in Florida. New College of Florida. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. This is journalism in 2025, sanitizing political assassins while demonizing their victims. ABC finds murderers' love notes touching. Rachel Maddow spins demands for justice as dictatorship. Don Lemon says we're exploiting death for clicks while his network exploited every riot for ratings. They're not reporting news. They are running interference for killers. And when students brave enough to confront teachers who celebrated Kirk's death, where's the media? They're silent. When Nancy Mace files to censure Ilhan Omar for her vile comments, they call it overreach. The same press that spent years calling words violence now calls actual violence touching. So here's my question. Has mainstream media become an active threat to public safety by humanizing political assassins? Yes or no? Let me hear it in the comments. They've chosen their side. We must choose ours. Time to fight back. Get your American badass gear. We've got one featuring Charlie Kirk on it. Beautiful memorial for him. It's at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com and show them we see through their lies. Ugh, makes me so sick, man. Trash media. That's what it is. Okay, no super chats to speak of at the moment. And we're moving right along into our next topic. This was another huge piece of news today regarding Arctic frost. Donald Trump Jr. weighing in. Kash Patel at the oversight hearing. Massive bombshells today. So let's get right into it. They called it Arctic frost, and it wasn't about the weather. Newly leaked FBI documents expose the biggest domestic spying operation against conservatives in American history. 92 Republican groups, from Trump's own organizations to grassroots activists, all swept up in a massive surveillance dragnet. Your church group, your local GOP committee, your conservative book club. If you leaned right, you were a target. Senator Grassley dropping the receipts, and they are worse than we imagine. This wasn't investigating crimes. This was building an enemies list. While they were busy spying on soccer moms and veterans, real threats walked free. The same FBI that missed the Charlie Kirk assassination plot was too busy surveilling law-abiding patriots. Here is what they do not want you to see. But first, a word from the people who support this program. We recently covered a company called Western Star Resources here on the channel, a gold and silver exploration company we believed had serious potential for U.S. expansion. Well, it looks like that move is already in motion. Western Star just signed an MOU with the American Corp to push forward their U.S. growth strategy. And here's why the timing is so important. With domestic demand for precious metals climbing year after year, and with the U.S. government making it clear they want more homegrown exploration instead of relying on foreign supply, companies like Western Star are in a prime position. Now, this isn't just about mining. It's about national security, economic stability, and capturing a huge market opportunity. Western Star's expertise, combined with supportive policy environments, means they are stepping into the U.S. market under the best possible conditions. Could a huge U.S. expansion be next? I wouldn't bet against it. Western Star Resources, making gold and silver great again. The link in the description, westernstarresources.com, and we thank them for making this show possible. So, the Oversight Committee on Capitol Hill today was fireworks. Senator Grassley announcing an FBI whistleblower revealed to him an FBI project called Arctic Frost that targeted groups like Charlie Kirk's Turning Point USA. This is a bombshell. He says they're releasing the documents today. We're going to show you some of them. Here is that moment at the oversight hearing.
My investment in American gangs like MS-13. Now, well, it's well understood that your predecessor left you an FBI infected with politics. I'm going to provide examples of that today, including making public new whistleblower records. At your nomination hearing, I made public records that whistleblowers provided me about Arctic Frost. Arctic Frost was the FBI case opened and approved by antitrust Trump FBI agent Thibault. Arctic Frost then became Jack Smith's elector case against then Citizen Trump and now President Trump. These new records show that Arctic Frost was much broader than just an electoral matter. The case was expanded to Republican organizations. Some examples of the group that Ray FBI sought to place under political investigation included the Republican National Committee, Republican Attorney General's Association, and various Trump political groups. In total, 92 Republican targets, including Republican groups and Republican-linked individuals, were placed under investigative scope of Arctic Frost. On that political list was one of Charlie Kirk's groups, Turning Point USA. In other words, Arctic Frost wasn't just a case to politically investigate Trump. It was the vehicle by which partisan FBI agents and Department of Justice prosecutors could achieve their partisan ends and improperly investigate the entire Republican political apparatus. So today, Senator Johnson and I are making these records public for the entire country to see, and I hope a lot of people are interested in seeing what government can do when various agencies have a political agenda. My investigative work has also exposed the political way in which Peter Navarro was investigated and prosecuted. When FBI agent Thibault found out that Biden's DOJ would prosecute Navarro, he said, "Wow, great." That's a quote, unquote. Through whistleblowers, I've obtained a audio recording of Special Agent Giagardina and Special Agent Sebastian Gardner's delivery of a subpoena to Navarro. I'm making that audio public today. In a court document filed by the Department of Justice, Navarro's Central American gangs like MS-13. Now, well, it's well understood that your predecessor left you.
That was the moment the bombshell dropped on Capitol Hill. Kylie Jane Kramer says, "I am furious seeing my name, my mom's name, and Women for America First dragged into Arctic frost proves exactly what I've said all along. We've been targets of the federal government. For years, the federal government has harassed me, my family, and my colleagues, trying to destroy our lives. Why? Because I organized legally permanent First Amendment rally and dared to stand up for free and fair elections. I never committed violence, never broken the law, yet I've been treated like a criminal simply for exercising my constitutional rights. Lord knows if I had, then I would have been put in prison, and they would have thrown away the key. The same with my colleagues, friends, and family. Lawyers, is there any path forward for me or for Women for America First to fight back and hold the federal government accountable for this outrageous abuse of power?" Here she's dropping the receipts, highlighting her name, Women for America First. Now you can see, let me see if I can zoom in better here for you. Here is the list. Save America Joint Fundraising Committee, Trump Make America Great Again Committee, Make America Great Again PAC, Donald Trump for President Inc., Blue Bonnet Fundraising, Turning Point USA, Turning Point Action, Tea Party Express, 8% Coalition, Republican Attorneys General Association. Look at that. That's just one of them. Here's another one. Here's her name and her mother's name listed right there in the documents that have just now become public.
An FBI infected with politics.
Attorney General, this is James Uthmeier, says, "My office will be launching an investigation, issuing subpoenas to former Biden officials who engaged in malicious, politically motivated witch hunts targeting conservative individuals and organizations like Turning Point USA." He was quote tweeting these Senate Judiciary Republicans on the news. Well, Chris Wray and Jack Smith belong in prison. C3 posts, "The left has used the justice system to target its political enemies. No one was safe. Investigating Turning Point USA. Until they are stopped and punished, they will keep on doing this." Here's more on that list. Donald Trump Jr. posting, "Anyone who's been watching knows that this was happening, and now we actually have the proof. An absolute miscarriage of justice and misuse of law enforcement. Totally disgraceful." Quote tweeting libs of TikTok with the documents that the Senate Judiciary Committee just released, revealing Biden FBI targeted 92 Republican organizations as part of its witch hunt investigation against Trump. Turning Point USA, GOP, Trump companies, and Republican PACs. Now unclassified documents into the public record. Turning Point USA, Turning Point Action, right there listed among them. Disgraceful. Here's Catherine Herridge. More exclusive whistleblower records. This FBI white paper details the extraordinary scope of the investigation into President Trump, codenamed Arctic Frost, described a multifaceted conspiracy to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election. Investigative steps taken. Interviews, over 150 conducted. Subpoenas, over 400 served. Search warrants, 10 phones, 5 lawyers, 1 U.S. congressman, and 2 White House. 20 other electronic devices, 7 iCloud accounts, 28 email accounts, and 1 Twitter, former President Trump's own Twitter account. Lines of effort. False fraud claims, false elector scheme, false lawsuits, state pressure, false DOJ letter, Jeff Clark, pressure, Pence, Eastman plan, financial fraud, whistleblower records revealed Chuck Grassley, Senator Ron Johnson, ongoing oversight into Arctic frost. Here is the documents that she just listed that have now become public. Catherine Herridge dropping the receipts right here. So this is only the beginning of what we have now learned about Arctic frost. It'll be interesting to see how this Attorney General, who will be subpoenaed and when on this witch hunt. Chris Wray, Jack Smith, we'll see. But this is just the beginning of what we're learning. Charlie Kirk's Turning Point USA, and now Charlie Kirk is no longer. Dozens of conservative organizations had their records subpoenaed by the FBI as part of their investigation. Turning Point USA, right there. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. Arctic frost proves what we've been warning about for years. The weaponization of federal law enforcement against political opposition. 92 groups. Think about that number. While the FBI was building spreadsheets on Trump supporters and church groups, they missed actual terrorists planning actual violence. Turning Point USA was on their hit list while Tyler Robinson was loading his gun. This is not incompetence, it's deliberate. They chose to target patriots over predators. Attorney General Uthmeier promises subpoenas are coming. Good. Because documentation without prosecution is just paperwork. We need handcuffs, not hearings. So here's the question that matters. Should FBI officials who authorize Arctic frost face federal prison time for violating American civil rights? Yes or no? Flood the comments. This is about more than surveillance. It's about a government that views half the country as enemies. And it's time to clean house and show them you are not backing down. Support our work here. Hit our merch shop at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. God, Arctic frost. People are sick. Okay, we got more explosive moments from that oversight hearing coming up. No new super chats to speak of. Fireworks today, my friends. If nothing happens, then F the law. If this was you or me, we'd already be in jail. That's right, Robert. Patricia, Eric, yes. Andrew, Grief, great show. Thank you. Trina Clark, blessings, Patriots. JT, the 60s and 70s were way more violent than today. The Weather Underground, SLA, Black Panthers. Until actions are taken on the consequences needing to happen against these individuals and agencies, nothing will ever change. Resto guy, my caps is stuck. All right. Let's go. Ted Cruz nailed it. Follow the money. Because Charlie Kirk's assassination wasn't just one lunatic with a manifesto. It's the inevitable result of a pipeline. Radical groups getting federal validation, tech platforms providing coordination, media outlets running cover, and dark money flowing through it all. Now, FBI Director Kash Patel confirms what we have all suspected. A broad network had intel on this hit, 20-plus people under investigation, State Department ties exposed, Discord servers humming with plans. This assassination pulled back the curtain on how the left's violence machine actually works. From government grants to trigger pulls, they thought that Kirk's death would silence us. Instead, it's exposing their entire operation. Don't look away, because what happened in the oversight hearing today was pure fireworks. But first, a word from our sponsor who makes this show possible, Western Star Resources. We just recently covered them here on the channel. They're a gold and silver exploration company. We believe it had serious potential for U.S. expansion. Well, it looks like that move is already in motion. Western Star just signed an MOU with the American Corp to push forward their U.S. growth strategy. And here's why the timing is so important. With domestic demand for precious metals climbing year after year, and with the U.S. government making it clear they want more homegrown exploration instead of relying on foreign supply, companies like Western Star are in a prime position. Now, this is not about mining. It's about national security. It's about economic stability and capturing a huge market opportunity. Western Star's expertise, combined with a supportive policy environment, means they're stepping into the U.S. market under the best possible conditions. Could a huge U.S. expansion be next? I wouldn't bet against it. Western Star Resources is making gold and silver great again. We thank them for sponsoring this program. WesternStarResources.com. It is linked down below if you want to find out more. So the fireworks on Capitol Hill today. Ted Cruz, we are going to follow the money. He's got an act called the Stop Funders Act, would allow prosecutors to use RICO to go after the financiers of far-left violence. Listen.
And the shell casings have multiple references to slogans that Antifa has popularized. I believe there is considerable money funding it. I would note that I've introduced legislation called the Stop Funders Act. Stop Funders Act would add rioting to the list of predicate offenses under RICO. I believe the money should be tracked and prosecuted under RICO. And both the Antifa and Black Lives Matter riots of a couple of years ago and the pro-open border riots in Los Angeles and other cities of this past year, I believe there was significant money behind those riots. I'm not the only person who noticed at the anti-Semitic protests and violent protests on college campuses that many of the tents all matched. And so I would ask, would it aid your ability to prosecute these matters if Congress passed into law the Stop Funders Act and if rioting was added to the list of predicate offenses for RICO?
Yes.
Yes. FBI Director Kash Patel says the FBI is going after a new form of modern-day terrorism in America, including 764 crimes. According to the FBI, 764 is a nihilistic violent extremism group.
Of thousands of dollars to support ISIS. We're going after the new form of what I refer to as modern-day terrorism in America, 764 crimes that involve harming our children by going after them online, causing self-mutilation, suicide, sexual abuse, and steering them in the wrong direction. Currently, we have 3,500 international terrorism investigations. Specifically, we have in this country 1,700 domestic terrorism investigations, a large chunk of which are nihilistic violent extremism, NVE.
So this is a new classification the FBI has made. Here is the FBI Director Kash Patel bodying pencil neck Adam Schiff in the hearing today. Everybody is talking about this.
No, I think the American people believe the truth, that I'm not in the weeds on the everyday movements of inmates. What I am doing is protecting this country, providing historic reform, and combating the weaponization of intelligence by the likes of you. And we have countlessly proven you to be a liar in Russiagate, in January 6th. You are the biggest fraud to ever sit in the United States Senate. You are a disgrace to this institution and an utter coward.
I'm not surprised.
I'm not surprised that you continue to lie from your perch and put on a show so you can go raise money for your charade. You are a political buffoon at best.
Well, you can take an internet troll.
Take it to the bank that the FBI is protecting this country and the state and citizens of California. We are bringing historic reform.
Point of order.
But all you care about is a child sex predator that was prosecuted by a prior administration, and the Obama Justice Department and the Biden Justice Department did squat. And what did President Trump do? Bring new charges courageously. And what have we done?
Chairman,
you said I'm the most transparent FBI director in history. 33,000 pages of information to you. I challenge you to say anything credibly to the truth. Go ahead and run to the cameras where you want to go now.
No. Oh, yeah, baby. Give me more. Here's more. FBI Director Kash Patel destroying Mazi Hirono. Debunks her false narrative the FBI field offices are short-staffed. Oh, my.
Which field office, division, or directorate has lost the most personnel since January 2025? And, do you have the answer to that question?
Yeah. Actually, every single field office in the country, including Hawaii, has received a plus-up of FBI agents because we're pushing them out to the field.
Okay, so you're telling me that no field office, division, or directorate has lost any personnel since January 20th, 2025? That's your answer?
In Hawaii, there's been a plus up. In every single state that I'm looking at, we have allocated a plus up for field offices across the country so that the FBI can continuing the historic achievements it's done in these last 7 months. When you're talking about firings, you're looking for a media hit and a fundraising clip, and I'm not going to give it to you.
It doesn't matter under what basis they left. I just want to know how many have left. And I think your testimony is nobody has left. Next question.
Nope, that's not my testimony. You asked it one time. I answered it one time. You didn't get the answer you wanted for your clip.
Next
So you keep
question.
asking it, and I told you I'd get you the numbers, but you can keep asking it.
Which
Oh, man, Cash Patel on fire today. Here's some more.
Political violence. Experts and journalists and propagandists who downplay the political violence.
What he's doing is serious.
I'm going to ask you, because I don't have a ton of time.
The opposite of what we should be doing as a committee.
And I would point out, we've heard years of the left, their loudest voices calling anyone on the right extremists, MAGA Republicans, fascists, Nazis, an existential threat to democracy. Check yourself. And don't give me this both sides bullshit. Mr. Director, I want to ask you. Tell me if each one of the following perpetrators or alleged perpetrators were acting from a left-wing or right-wing political violence. The man who tried to kill Republican congressman at the congressional baseball practice, nearly killing House Majority Leader Steve Scalise. Left-wing or right-wing violence?
Sir, I believe it was a left-wing ideology.
Okay. Burned down cities during the Summer of Love in the George Floyd riots. Left-wing violence or right-wing violence?
Sir, I'll rely on you on these. I don't have off the top of my head. I'm sorry.
Okay. Left-wing. The Waukesha Christmas Parade massacre. Left-wing or right-wing violence? Left-wing. The Lee Zeldin stabbing attempt. Left-wing or right-wing? Left-wing. The Covenant school shooting in Nashville. Left-wing or right-wing? Left-wing. The Butler, Pennsylvania assassination attempt on President Trump. Left-wing or right-wing? Left-wing. The Trump International West Palm Beach assassination attempt. Left-wing. The Abundant Life Christian school shooting. Left-wing. The United Care CEO's murder. Left-wing. Tesla's burned, keyed, damaged, firebombed. Left-wing. Left-wing. The murders at the Israeli embassy. Left-wing. The ICE facilities firebombed. Left-wing. The Minnesota Catholic school shooting. Left-wing. The anti-white Charlotte and North Carolina stabbing. Left-wing. The attempted Utah News State firebombing. Left-wing. And now, of course, the culmination of this vile trend, a left-wing assassination of Charlie Kirk. So don't give me this both sides. If we want to get to unity, let's be honest. Let's be honest. Free speech, yes. Political violence, no. But let's be honest. Experts.
He just ran down the list. And, of course, the left would just gaslight you. Senator Eric Schmidt obliterating the both sides BS coming from the left in under 2 minutes. Okay, now, FBI Director Cash Patel, another exchange with Mazziarono. If you want to chase down a bad guy, you better be able to do a pull-up.
One question I had is that you are now requiring applicants to be able to do a certain kind of pull-ups, which a lot of women cannot because of physiological differences. Are you requiring...
Wait. There's physiological differences? Whoa. Did she just make an admission there? What?
These kinds of pull-ups?
We are requiring a physical program at BFTC at Quantico because FBI agents carrying guns in the field have to chase down bad guys and do really hard work. The physical fitness standards of those agents
are you requiring these kinds of pull-ups?
We are requiring everybody to pass the 1811 standards at BFTC. If you want to chase down a bad guy and put him in handcuffs, you better be able to do a pull-up.
The reason I ask is that there are concerns about whether or not being able to do these kinds of harsh pull-ups is really required of FBI agents.
Doing one pull-up is not harsh, and there are always medical exemptions to that.
One question I have.
Complaining about doing pull-ups. Oh, boy. Sarah Rose posting this. This is Cory Booker. an exchange with Patel today.
Be around long. I don't think you're fit to hand the bureau, but here's the thing, Mr. Patel. I think you're not going to be around long. I think this might be your last oversight hearing. Because as much as you supplicate yourself to the will of Donald Trump and not the Constitution of the United States of America, Donald Trump has shown us in his first term and in this term, he is not loyal to people like you. He will cut you loose. This may be the last time I have a hearing with you because I don't think you're long for your job. But I'm going to tell you this. I pray for you. I pray for you that you can step up and defend your oath, defend the Constitution, and do a much better job of defending this country. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Do you want to say anything?
Yes,
at this
sir.
point?
That rant of false information does not bring this country together. If you want to work on bringing this country, it's my time, not yours.
My God.
If you want to talk about
dividing this country,
it is
I
my
follow
time.
you on your social media posts that
It is
tear
my
this country
time
apart.
to
There
address
should be a
your
unifying-
falsehoods.
Oh,
You are an
you can try
embarrassment
all
to the
you
division
want
in this
to
country.
not take
It is my
responsibility
time.
for what
You
you
had
have
your
said.
time.
Sir, you're
Your
making a
time is
mockery of this
over.
committee. Sir, you don't tell me my time is over.
You
The
know how
people
far
of New
we've
Jersey
come
tell me
since
what
you
my time
tell-
is.
Senator-
You can't lecture me.
You can tell me
Sir,
my time's
you have-
over?
You may be the charge of the
I'm not
FBI,
going anywhere.
but I am not afraid of you, sir.
Mr. Chairman.
Not afraid of you.
Mr.
I don't think you're fit to hand the bureau, but here's
Cory Booker. Oh, man. Bathroom Booker. Oh, here we go. Here's more. Kash Patel completely shut down Dick Blumenthal for blatantly putting words into Director Patel's mouth.
With your entire...
I'm going to ask you, has anyone from the White House contacted you about personnel decisions?
I completely disagree with your entire premise that I have lied or am misleading the FBI. If I were, the results that I announced today by the men and women of the FBI and the historic records we are doing to keep this country safe would not be possible. The men and women of the FBI are responding to our leadership and this administration's priorities. The only way people get terminated at the FBI is if they fail to meet the muster of the job and their duties. And that is where I will leave it. And you accusing me of lying is something I don't take lightly, but I'm not going to get into a tit for tat with you.
Well, let me just ask you to answer my question. Has anyone from the White House contacted you about personnel decisions?
Generally speaking, we always discuss with the White House, OMB, during the budget process, how many personnel we need, who we need where.
Answer is yes.
For budgetary
You've been
purposes
directed
and
to fire people, agents, because they participated in investigations of the president.
I don't receive directions to do that.
Has anyone
I make the
suggested it?
decisions.
Has anyone asked you to do it? The best information is yes, you've taken suggestions and direction from the White House in firing qualified agents.
Any termination at the FBI was a decision that I made based on the evidence that I have as a director of the FBI, and it's my job, and I'm not going to shy away from it. And as you stated, those are allegations, and that is an ongoing litigation. So they'll have their day in court, so will we.
The allegations are not just in that lawsuit, Director Patel, and I think your testimony confirms that, in fact, you've taken direction from the White House.
I don't.
In those
it does
retaliatory firings.
It literally does
because you've
not.
acknowledged that, in fact, they have been in contact with you about personnel decisions.
The
Let me
White House
move
has
on.
been, do not put words in my mouth. We're on the record. The White House, like any administration, contacts its agencies on the budgeting process and where it needs personnel and where the mission priorities are. That always happens. If they didn't do that, they would be abdicating the responsibility to law enforcement. I will always work with my partners in the chain of command at the Department of Justice and the White House to ensure that this FBI is delivering the results we are delivering, to include the lowest murder rate in modern U.S. history, to include the most fentanyl seizures in modern U.S. history, to include the most lives saved and the most children found in modern U.S. history. That is a working FBI. That is not a failing FBI.
Let's move on to...
Yeah, let's move on. I just got called out. Let's move on. Nothing to see here. Here is the FBI director giving an overview of the investigation into the assassination of Charlie Kirk today.
Charlie Kirk was shot at 12:23 p.m. on September 10th. I think this timeline is critically important. Less than a day later, the FBI at my direction released the first set of images of the suspect that we captured based on our analysis on the ground. Later that evening, while conducting extensive interviews and cell phone analysis and also flying out evidence response teams and hostage rescue teams and evidence tacticians who were collecting evidence in live time and flying them back to Washington, D.C. in our laboratories for immediate analyses, we were able to extract video from the campus feed. And at my direction at 8 p.m., in partnership and in promise to working with the public to bring this fugitive to justice, we released a newly, never before seen video of the suspect. We also released new enhanced photos of the suspect. A few hours later, that suspect was in custody, pursuant to the interrogation of the suspect's own father, who stated, "When I saw that video that you released, I recognized it was my son, and I confronted him, and he was handed over to lawful law enforcement authorities." That is the FBI working with the public, as I promised, being transparent and providing critical information along the way in the manhunt for the suspect and suspects involved in Charlie's assassination. We received over 11,000 tips in the first 24 hours alone. We received 16,000 submissions to our digital media enterprise and tip lines. That is a large number of material to go through. I want to thank President Trump and the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, for their unwavering support and commitment resources to this and all investigations. I also want to especially thank our colleagues in Utah, the Governor's Office, DPS, and the sheriffs out there. State and local law enforcement partnership has been a cornerstone since I took over at the FBI, and it was no different here. And our teams in Salt Lake City, our SACs out there across the country, our lab technicians in Quantico who raced to complete the evidence analysis so the public could have the answers they need. These people worked through the night without sleep for days on end. They are to be commended. They are not to be attacked. And many, many, many more people I don't have time to thank here today. But I do want to thank the American people especially. The mission of the FBI is for them and with them and by, with, and through them. And it's that mission and that ethos that I brought to this investigation and so many others, and that's why that suspect is in custody. We cannot do our job without the American public and credible reporting in the media, and that's why Tyler Robinson is in custody today, about to face charges. Charlie Kirk was...
And, of course, he's now facing the death penalty as it has been announced. Here is more. Kash Patel taking no crap from these deep state Democrat senators. Here he is facing off against Senator Whitehouse.
Against about your so-called enemies list. It appears to me that there have been adverse actions of various kinds taken against about 20 of the 60 people on your enemies list. You've been in office for 7 months. At that rate, you've got 14 months until you've hit all 60. Can you explain that?
Again, that is an entirely inaccurate presupposition. I do not have an enemies list. You can continue to characterize it as you wish. The only actions we take, generally speaking, for personnel at the FBI are ones based on merit and qualification and your ability to uphold your constitutional duty. You fall short, you don't work there anymore.
Well, there was a list. You don't like it to be called an enemies list, and it had about 60 names, and about 20 have had an adverse action. So those are, I think, pretty clear facts. Let me move on to your grand jury testimony, which we also talked about when you were here. I think you indicated that you understood that a witness in the grand jury is free to discuss afterwards whatever they told the grand jury. And you then went on to suggest, saying, I can't go into court orders granted by the DC District Chief Judge about your...
Okay, yeah, switching gears, right? Fireworks on Capitol Hill today. See what else we have for you. Oopsie, welcome to Clown World. What's this?
Rule of criminal chief judge that you mentioned, Judge Boasberg, has written, and I'm quoting him here, Federal Rule of Criminal Procedure 6E allows witnesses like Patel to divulge the contents of their testimony, meaning that nothing was preventing him from doing so before the committee. Can we confirm here today that there is no court order of any kind that limits your ability as a witness before the grand jury to discuss your own testimony to that grand jury?
We can confirm that pursuant to my action that grand jury testimony has been released, the transcript.
Let's, in what forum was it released, may I ask?
Publicly.
Okay, we'll check on that. The FBI does back Chief Judge that you.
Josh Hawley, in the hearing today, reads Kash Patel the horrific stats that reveal the rising tide of anti-Christian attacks in America, putting numbers to the dark forces we're up against.
Found that there have been. Let me just turn to the broader question here of anti-religious, anti-Christian violence. Let me just give you a few stats that I'm sure that you're all too familiar with. Every person of faith in America certainly is. Major report this past year found that there have been over 400 instances of hostility against churches in the United States in the year 2024. Those included arsons, bomb threats, shootings, and firearm incidents. Another organizational report found that there were 500 attacks on Catholic parishes alone. So that number 415, that's all Christian churches in 2024. Another organization found 500 separate attacks on just Catholic parishes since May of 2020. Of course, we have the Covenant school shooting, the Annunciation school shooting in Minnesota, where 2 children were shot dead as they were praying in a pew. Here's my question. What is the FBI doing to take on this rising tide of violence that seems to be motivated by anti-religious hatred?
Specifically, sir, we have 60 anti-Catholic hate crime incidences reported to us that are being investigated. Publicly, I can tell you we have 5 hate crime investigations with anti-Catholic bias ongoing currently in the states, in the cities of Kansas City, Louisville, Houston, Nashville, and Richmond. That's what I can say publicly. But any ideologically based attack against any faith, as a man of faith myself, will not be tolerated, and the full resources of the FBI are committed to all of it.
Let me just...
Oh, boy. What a hearing today.
Field are supposed to lead. In my experience, Senator, the leaders in the field are supposed to lead. So we have empowered and we've changed the structural operation of the FBI to empower SACs in the 56 field office, 55, 56 come 1 October, to lead the mission. We've also empowered the respective assistant directors and operational directors to lead the mission. That is how you manage 36,500, 37,000 people. No 1 or 2 people can do it. And that's been the transition, is the power structure is being pushed out to the field operations.
If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. So this is the thread that connects everything. Federal money to radical groups, surveillance on conservatives, tech platforms hiding evidence, media spinning murder into romance. Charlie Kirk's assassination wasn't random violence. It was the predictable outcome of a system that rewards extremism on the left while criminalizing patriotism on the right. Senator Cruz's Stop Funders Act would use RICO to prosecute the financiers. That's the key. Drive the money and the violence stops. But they're terrified of that solution because it exposes how deep this goes. From State Department grants to Discord servers to ABC newsrooms, they're all part of the same machine. And that machine just produced a political assassination on American soil. So here's the question. Do you believe we'll see anyone prosecuted for funding the networks that produced Charlie Kirk's killer? Yes or no? Hit those comments hard. Until the money trail leads to handcuffs, nothing changes. But you can support our work here. Grab your Next News gear at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com, and you can join me in that fight. All right, Resi Ness dropping $10. Thank you. Praying for our youth. They are the target big time. And speaking of our youth, I just got a message from those kids at Glenbrook North. They did get a response to our report just yesterday. When we went to the vigil, they gave out the administrator's email address because they were rejected. The Turning Point chapter was rejected. It says recent social media posts have, this is the official statement from Glenbrook North. Recent social media posts have brought renewed attention to a student club request from last school year, drawing significant interest from both within our community and beyond. We've received a large number of emails and phone calls regarding the request, many of which shared thoughtful perspectives and sought to understand how new club proposals are considered. At the same time, some of those messages have included vulgar language or personal threats directed towards individual staff members. Communications of this nature are not reflective of who we are as a learning community, and they stand in direct contrast to our Class Act commitments to respect, accept, and inspire. So listen, folks, if you sent nasty emails to these guys, that wasn't the point. That only works against us. They basically said during the review of their application for Turning Point, it became clear many of the proposed activities were already available through existing organizations such as Student Association, Current Events Club, and our academic departments. Additionally, the students were unable to secure a staff sponsor for the club. Students who submitted the application were encouraged to get involved in these groups where they could share their perspectives and take part in open, respectful conversations with peers. So it looks like they just got stonewalled again because they don't want a Turning Point chapter. They don't want that in Glenrock North. Disgusting. Well, I'm sure there will be more applications. They need to find a teacher to sponsor, but in that liberal high school, good luck. Don't give up, kids. We're behind you. So, Patriots, what we've exposed today should shake you to your core. 5 angles of the same horrifying truth. Charlie Kirk's assassination was enabled by a system designed to protect radicals and punish patriots. We showed you how State Department money flowed to militant organizers who preached armed resistance. When Ermiya Fanaeian got their federal award for gender equality, they were building the very networks now under FBI investigation. Your tax dollars validated the hate that pulled the trigger. Then we exposed Discord's lies. Executives swearing no evidence existed while Tyler Robinson's confession sat on their servers. 20-plus users now under investigation, and Silicon Valley scrambles to delete the digital footprints. They're not protecting user privacy, they're protecting themselves from prosecution. We revealed Arctic Frost, the FBI massive surveillance operation against 92 conservative groups. While agents built files on grandmothers at Trump rallies, real killers planned real violence. They had Turning Point USA in their crosshairs while missing the actual assassin in their blind spot. We documented the media's sickening spin, ABC calling murder confessions touching, Maddow painting justice as dictatorship, Lemon dismissing your grief as clickbait. They've gone from bias to dangerous, sanitizing political violence when it targets the right. And then we connected it all, the money trails, institutional rot, coordination between government, tech, and media that created a perfect storm. Ted Cruz wants RICO prosecutions, Kash Patel confirming broader networks. The cover-up crumbles by the hour. So to those of you who sent in super chats and rumble rants, thank you for making your voices heard. Your outrage does matter. Your demands for justice echo across the nation. Keep the comments coming. Keep sharing the streams. Keep bypassing their algorithms with direct messages to everyone you know. This is not just about Charlie Kirk. This is about a system that marked you as enemies for believing in America. They surveilled your groups, funded your opponents, covered up violence against you. But here's what they didn't count on. We are not backing down. We are doubling down. So keep telling your friends about the raw feed. Tell them we are the show that names names, shows receipts, and refuses to let them memory hole their crimes. Hit our merch shop at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com because every purchase funds more investigations, more truth bombs, more content they desperately want silenced. Tomorrow we will have more breaking developments on the Charlie Kirk investigation, more whistleblower revelations you won't see anywhere else. The establishment thought they could kill the message by killing the messenger. Well, they were wrong. Charlie's voice lives on through every patriot who refuses to be silent. Our Boyd, wait until you find out that Charlie wasn't shot from head on. The shot came from behind him and to his right. What we saw was the exit wound. That our Boyd, I will push back on wholeheartedly. I do not believe that at all. I've seen the videos. I think they're ridiculous. Flat out ridiculous. Okay. The hand signals, the touching of the face and the hat, the guy with the thing under the armpit, none of that stuff. Nope. Not going down that rabbit hole, and I refuse to. But thank you for your $10. I appreciate that. So thank you for joining the Raw Feed. Keep fighting, keep sharing, keep demanding justice. We will see you on the next show. Until then, I'm Gary Franchi for the Next News Network.